Hello everyone, this is ISmileyzI here, back with another episode of the Layton Brothers Mystery Room. We're getting right into case number 4, the walking corpse. I have a bottle of water with me this time, so my voice hopefully won't be dying this time. And we have the janitor here giving us the case, or a funny story as he calls it. But there's a reason why he's telling us this story, as we'll find out in a few minutes. Alright, a walking corpse. Don't be daft, Dustin. Corpse is a corpse. Yeah, that wasn't very female. My impressions might not be up to par today because my voice is still a little bit off from the last time I recorded. Yeah, I actually did kind of like lose my voice a little bit. Alright, so now we're gonna hear out the rest of the case. And we got it in the file, as usual. Now that every puzzle has an answer line, isn't that from, like, Professor Layton? Like, don't they say that in the actual games? Because I played a couple of them, and, you know, they're all puzzle-based and stuff, so I was wondering if that actually is from there. It sounds familiar. Got a little creepy music going on here in the background. We're deep in the South American jungle in a clifftop hut. The victim were an archaeologist. He had an axe planted in his brow. Although this is Lucy saying it, so it wouldn't be like that, but that's how I always imagine narrators sounding, with this creepy music in the background. Nearby villagers were saying it were the work of a demon. But demons don't exist, I were sure of that. Once we'd finished working on this case, though, I were a bit wiser. Demons do exist. Oh, aye. Alright, so file number 004, but I always just call them cases. Case 4, the walking corpse. Alright. Now it's time for the actual rundown of the case from the prof here. Still got that music going on in the background. Alright, so a group of archaeologists were exploring a jungle. This guy's name is probably the most... Oh my god. The pun of his name just made me cringe when I saw it. It's like, are you serious? Could you have not come with something at least more creative? Anyways, so the victim here and his assistant found this idol and asked the hotel proprietor at the hotel they were staying at if they had any place that they could keep it. And he recommended this hut on top of a cliff. And then they got drunk, of course. And then in the middle of the night, he got killed. It's a demon! Yeah, so he was apparently saying it was a demon, and then they went over to the hut, but it was locked. And then the hotel guy broke it down, and then they found his dead body with an axe in his brain. Probably the most grotesque out of all the scenes in this game, if I do say so myself. Ah, the dead body. A lovely thing, isn't it? Nasty. Yeah, even more believable turn of events followed. Oh, apparently it lunged to attack. Lucy's taken aback by the apparent possibility of the action there. The stone idol, it was gone! Yeah, stone idol was gone after they searched the scene again. And the villagers think it was a demon, but of course, we don't think it's a demon. Lucy wants to leave it alone, but we can't do that. We can't leave this case alone because it's a job for the mystery room. It wasn't a demon, it was a human. Of course it was a human. Good job, Lucy. I'm glad you figured that out. Oh, okay. So the whole point was that of the janitor giving us this case was that the other archaeologist with the victim was his brother. So there you go. That's right, Lucy. Let's get stuck in. Alright, so time for the suspects. First is Doug Scours, the janitor's brother here. Clearly he didn't do it. I think we can assume that by now. Then we have the hotel owner, Mr. Sasukasa. Micah Sasukasa. Stupid microphone. Anyways, next we have Chico Coretta, the guide that was serving for the archaeologist and his assistant, who is a member of the village, speaks a little bit of English. And then there's Mariana Atista, and the person who works at the hotel, and was the person who received the screams from the other end of at the hut. Okay, that's all the suspects. All the suspects. I was about to say like all the husbands or something. Okay, all the suspects. Yes, the mystery is how the murder even took place, because it was all locked up and stuff. And apparently the window was barred, so they couldn't get out that way. Alright, so appears we have a nice mystery on our hands. Actually, Professor, it's not actually too hard to guess who the culprit is in this particular case, and I will tell you why after our investigation of the crime scene, coming up soon. I'll give it my best bash. You do that, Lucy. You do that. I want nothing but your best bash in this case. Alright, so I asked for advice real quick, and now we're going to investigate the crime scene itself. As usual. Alright. We're here at the crime scene reconstruction. Got 5 minutes as per usual. Okay. Table. Signs, which will become important. Where did I put that? Okay. Yes. The photo notes, which... A crack in the idol's head. Well, it's kind of odd that they even have those there, because they don't come in handy. Those do. The written notes will be very important in figuring out who the culprit is. We have the spilled liquor on the ground there, which is kind of an odd shape. Then over here we have a fishing tackle, which may seem unimportant, but is actually very crucial to this case. And we have a suitcase, which is not crucial. It's just a suitcase. And we have crates. And the window there that was barred up so no one can get out. Or come in, even. We have crate A and crate B, both of which have had their lids removed, but nothing taken. Interesting. Considering that one of the crates apparently had valuables in them. Crate C, which apparently had the idol because it is completely empty now. And crate D, which has remained undisturbed there. And we have the body area. Have the blood stain, which is a little elongated because the corpse apparently moved forward, of course. Then we have the axe, which was through his head. The corpse itself. And the hut key, which apparently is the only one and cannot be duplicated, according to the hotel owner. Over here we have the liquor and signs, which we've already examined. We have the very interesting door, coat hook, and the intercom. All of which actually do play a role in this case. This case actually has quite a bit of evidence that actually does become relevant. Alright, so now we have the outside of the hut, in the front. We have Doug down there, wasted. And we have the door hinges, which is on the outside of the hut, which is interesting. And apparently one of the screws is missing, which, as you can see, is on the ground next to Doug. And is covered in mud. Gonna go ahead and zoom out and go over to the outside, the other part of the outside, where the only thing you can examine is the chopping block, which has nothing there, but is used to gather firewood. Now this actually is very interesting. This is the first case where you actually have to move around to find a different area that you can search. If you kind of move up and to the right a little bit, you can see that there is this area up in the rafters, and you can see some rafter damage, and that's very, very crucial. I completely just could not find that when I first started because I wasn't used to moving the scenes around, but once I figured out that you had to move the scenes, it became very obvious to me. Now we're picking the culprit, and if you've noticed, a couple of the pieces of the evidence have mentioned Chico Coretta on them, and so he seems kind of the most suspicious because he seems to be the one that's around, other than the archaeologist and his assistant there. I knew I were on to the right fellow. Alright, so how sure are you, Alfendi? 95.1% sure. That's pretty good. It's better than the last case, even. Well, we're pretty sure of ourselves here, but we gotta track down Chico Coretta. Alright, Lucy, just bob out and see what you can do. Alright, so what's going on? Oh, why are we dead lucky, Lucy? Oh, Coretta's right here in town. How convenient! Because if he wasn't, then we wouldn't be able to call him in, of course. Apologize for the little crackling noises you hear, because this cord in my mic does come loose sometimes, and I have to kind of push it back in, and it makes a crackling noise. Alright, so what do we know about this Chico Coretta guy? Alright, he's an expert on the site, he speaks some English. Okay, so they were in short supplies, so he makes a good guide, I guess. And he was engaged to be married with the other suspect, Mariana Atista. Alright, so he's our prime suspect. And here he is. There's the doorbell. Alright, so there's Chico. You must be Mr. Chico Coretta. Hola, you call me Chico. Okay, so Chico Coretta. Now, apparently he's 25, but he looks no older than 18 right there. I mean, I don't know. The ages are very arbitrary in this game. Mariana, she told to me that I come here. It's very nice. Ugh, stupid microphone. Anyways. I was originally going to give this guy a higher voice, but then I realized he was 25. It's no problema. It's my happy face. Okay, so... Crikey. Now Lucy's Australian, apparently. Okay. I bought these cookies just before. It's for you. Okay, so he bought us cookies. How nice of him. Oh! Nope. It's not cookies. It's tea, not bickies! Oh man, that's a good line. Oh no, I make a mistake. Okay, so... apparently he can't read or write English, but he can speak it. Which is very interesting. So that's important. He gets a little bit worked up over there. The gimmick with this suspect is he has masks. He has 3 masks that he uses. One for happy, one for sad, and one for angry. So yeah, those are kind of funny. I help you muchos. I help you muchos. Alright, so it's time to examine the corpse and the murder weapon. To the deduction screen. Oh wait, not yet. Wait, this corpse is a mystery here. And there's the hut door to consider, of course. Of course! Yeah, okay, he was killed and room locked from within, so... that's another mystery we'll have to solve. It's not the work of humans, it's the work of the Diablo. The Diablo. Okay, so he thinks it was the Diablo, the demon. I just love saying Diablo like that. Now, to the deduction screen, where we have 3 mysteries to solve this time. Also, if you notice, there were 4 suspects in this case. Oh no, whatever shall we do? Instead of 3, of course. Alright, so first things first, we gotta examine the body. Pretty straightforward. It's a Diablo who make this dead man walking. Alright. Okay, I can't say my accent is very good, but I do my best. Alright, so investigating the body. And just click on the corpse. Pretty straightforward. You pretty much do this every single time. Just examine the body first, of course. So yeah, the axe is still in his skull. Yeah. Is that very quick this way? No? See, I think so. There's no laughing matter. This is no laughing matter. Alright, what is the evidence? Okay, we have to find evidence that the body moved. Which preliminary evidence that the body moved is the elongated bloodstain that you see there. Because normally the bloodstain would be more contained, but this clearly indicates that the body was dragged or moved somehow. Well, clearly it didn't move by itself. It's the Diablo who moves his dead senor. Is punishment of the gods. Didn't move. Well, what? What am I talking about? What did I just say? Okay, there's no point in the. Okay, all right. So, corpse is done. It was launched forward, and we're gonna figure out the mystery of the locked room. Alright, so he came in and broke it down. The killer was nowhere to be seen. Figure out how the killer pulled that one off. Or makes itself minusculo and squeezes through the bars of the window. I don't think those happened. Alright, so first we gotta examine the window. I don't know why we examined the window, because we already know it was barred up. But if you do look at the window, like we did before, it's barred up, like I said, so no one can get through it. But apparently the stone idol would probably just about fit, though. Isn't the window over there, like... Isn't this hut is on like a cliff, right? So if you went out that window, wouldn't you be like jumping out of the cliff or something? So if we put the idol out there, it would just go down over the cliff. Alright, now it's time to look at the door to see maybe there's a way it could have been opened. Alright, there's the door. Tough looking door this. Okay, so what's up with this door? Never mind for now. Okay. It was locked. It's a very special lock. Senor Sasukasa. Sasukasa! I love saying his name. Alright, so it's time to look for the key, which, as we already know, was in the victim's pocket. So we're just gonna go ahead and go to the victim and search his pockets. Loot his corpse. Maybe we'll find some money and some cigarettes or something. Okay, so it was in the pocket. It was in his pocket. No, it's not possible for him to. For him to have locked up after or something like that. Okay, so now we're gonna go over and look at the door again, because apparently we weren't ready to look at it before. But yeah, what is unusual about the door? Well, if you notice the hinges, a screw was missing from the hinges, so that's pretty unusual. Hinges themselves are unusual. Yes, they are on the outside of the house, which I don't know anything about house building, but it does seem odd to have the hinges built on the outside of the house. because you could just remove the door if the hinges were on the outside of the house by getting rid of the screws and just taking the door off. Yeah, just remove the hinges and take the door off. I find it funny how when you answer the question you write, Chico's face just turns angry.
So we've cracked it.
I no realize there's something like this possible. Okay. The fact that he speaks in such bad grammar is gonna mess me up when doing my imitation of him, because I'm gonna want to say it correctly. Find the missing hinge screw. Well, we found that next to Doug when doing our preliminary investigation of the crime scene. Alright, so we found the screw. Excellent detective work, Lucy. Great work. Okay, so time to have forensics check out the screw because it's all dirty and muddy and stuff. Alright. So that's the door solved. Now it's time for the murder weapon. Just in case I wasn't clear, I want you to find the murder weapon. See, of course you find the killing weapon first of all things, CC, except we're finding it last this time. Yeah, or for some reason I decided to do the murder weapon last. What was the murder weapon? The bloodstain, oh, the axe, of course. How about the axe in his brain? I think that was the murder weapon. It's very easy to see, no? Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's not Lucy's fault, it's the professor's fault. Why do we need to figure out what the murder weapon is? It's clearly in his head. I think the axe killed him. Alright, where did the weapon come from? Well, if you remember, we saw the chopping block outside, which was empty. So it's logical that an axe would have come from a chopping block, of course. No, would not have been out of place there. Delicious water. Yummy. See, it's like that. Alright, so anybody would have had access to the axe because everyone had to take turns cutting up the wood. I chop, you chop. You're right, Lucy, it doesn't tell us a fat lot. Alright, so time to turn our attention to something else. But we've turned our attention to everything at this point. Alright, so we're still no closer to figuring out how the corpse went walking, though. Tantalizing mystery. It's proof that the Diablo is coming for us. We've gleaned some very important... The hinges! Yes, the hinges. I can't wait for forensics to give us our report. Ah, so exciting. Aren't you excited, viewers? Alright. So time to consider what the motive of the crime would be. Very obvious reason. Well, we really know what the reason is. In our preliminary investigation of the crime scene, we found 2 crates that had been broken into, and 1 that was empty. Now here I click on the silhouette because I forgot to do that right at the beginning. We're just talking about how Coretta's kind of tough to crack, I guess. Alright. Motive. That's a clear motive. Start investigating? Yes, of course. You have to investigate. What reveals the killer's motive? Well, I just said what reveals the killer's motive. The crates. Crate C in particular, because it is empty. But the other 2 have been pried open, it seems. Yeah, the killer must have stolen what was in crate C. If you remember, one of the notes mentioned crate C. And what was in crate C? Well, the idol, of course. Stone idol, crate C. Notice Coretta's fingerprints are on the notebook. That's one thing that kind of clues you in that the Coretta's probably the culprit. Okay, so the Diablo broke out of itself. Signore trespassed in the ancient place. For this he is punished by the gods. You jump? Yeah, you tell him, Lucy. You tell him. Senor Archie, his life is taken by the stone figure. E! There's no talking to some folk, is there? Yes, there is no talking to some folk, Lucy. Over to you, Lucy. And back to you, Lucy. And this was Alfendi Layton with the weather. Back to you, Lucy. Alright.